All right, what's going on? We're all back again. More SCP universe stuff. We're doing the Volgan SCP 3008, the Infinite Ikea, Euclid extra dimensional SCP. So instead of being a creature or a smaller object, this is going to be something unmovable. They had to make containment around the location this time. I don't know. Never been to IKEA. Don't they sell like washers and dryers and like fridges and appliances, that kind of shit? Furniture, maybe. I don't know if they did that stuff. I'm not sure. But we're gonna get started. See where this takes us. Links down below for Volgan and whatnot.
Good afternoon, everyone.
G'day.
My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-3008. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. The retail park containing SCP-3008 has been purchased by the Foundation and converted into a site.
Alright.
All public roads leading to or passing by site have been redirected. The entrance to SCP-3008.
Well, like in a city, that's a lot of area to manage or suddenly like purchase and make private. It's like Hollywood.
3008 is to be monitored at all times, and no one is to enter SCP-3008 outside of testing, as permitted by the senior researcher. Humans exiting SCP-3008 are to be detained and then debriefed prior to the administration of amnestics. Dependent upon the situation of their stay in SCP-3008, a cover story may need to be generated prior to their release. Any other entities exiting SCP-3008 are to be terminated.
Why are things exiting? Especially if they've bought the property and all that and whatnot. How are people getting inside? How are people getting in to then exit?
Description: SCP-3008 is a large retail unit previously owned by and branded as Ikea, a popular furniture retail chain. A person entering SCP-3008 through the main entrance and then passing out of sight of the doors will find themselves translocated into SCP-3008-1. This displacement will typically go unnoticed, as no change will occur from the perspective of the victim. They will generally not become aware until they try to return to the entrance. SCP-3008.
So like once you go inside, that's the portal. Once you go inside, you're fucked.
3008-1 is a space resembling the inside of an IKEA furniture store, extending far beyond the limits of what could physically be contained within the dimensions of the retail unit. Current measurements indicate an area of at least 10 kilometers squared, with no visible external terminators detected in any direction.
This thing's bigger on the inside. What the fuck? Isn't that what God was able to do to like his cells too? Make them where they're bigger on the inside?
Inconclusive results from the use of laser rangefinders has led to the speculation that the space may be infinite. SCP-3008-1 is inhabited by an unknown number of civilians trapped within prior to containment. Gathered data suggests that they have formed a rudimentary civilization within SCP-3008-1, including the construction of settlements and fortifications for the purpose of defending against SCP-3008-2. SCP-3008-2 are humanoid entities that exist within SCP-3008-1. While superficially resembling humans, they possess exaggerated and inconsistent bodily proportions, often
they're not
described
the
as
actual
being too
staff?
short or too tall. They possess no facial features, and in all observed cases, wear a yellow shirt and blue trousers consistent with the IKEA employee uniform. SCP-3008-1 has a rudimentary day-night cycle, determined by the overhead lighting within the space activating and deactivating at times consistent with the opening and closing times of the original retail store. During the night instances of SCP-3008-2 will become violent towards all other life forms within SCP-3008-1. During these bouts of violence, they have been heard to vocalize phrases in English that are typically variations of "the store is now closed, please exit the building." Once day begins, SCP-3008-2 instances immediately become passive and begin moving throughout SCP-3008-1 seemingly at random. They are unresponsive to questioning or other verbal cues in this state, though will react violently if attacked. SCP-3008-1 is known to have one or more exits located within, though these exits do not appear to have a fixed position, making it difficult to leave SCP-3008-1 once inside. Using any other door besides the main entrance to enter the structure or breaking through the walls of the retail unit leads into the non-anomalous interior of the original store.
So you have to go through the front door then, even. Because I started thinking, like, what they just said, like, coming in through the roof or whatever, breaking down the wall. So you have to go through the actual doors. And then the staff's like some sort of mutant or some shit. Sorry. Maybe the staff's just pissed off because, like, the staff can't go home till all the customers leave. So they can't ever go home because they're, like, just trying to get rid of the trapped people.
Since containment began, 14 individuals have managed to exit SCP-3008. Following extensive debriefing, all individuals have been administered amnestics and released. Incident 3008-1. At 0:37 hours on 2000, a human male exited SCP-3008.
14 people. Like, why'd it take? Wouldn't people start realizing that people were disappearing at this store?
Followed 10 seconds later by an instance of SCP-3008-2. SCP-3008-2 caught and killed the man before itself being terminated by an armed response personnel. This incident represents the only time an instance of SCP-3008-2 has been seen exiting SCP-3008. A full autopsy
They
on the
killed it
corpse
though,
was
so
performed.
they're killable.
See 3008-2 autopsy log for more details. The man was carrying an IKEA branded journal seeming to document his time in SCP-3008-1, transcribed below verbatim.
So, I'm writing this to document what I can only assume is my sudden descent into insanity. I can't possibly be that bad a navigator. And yet, as I write this, I've been trapped in IKEA for 2 days.
Poor fucker.
Another person in the entire
He's just
time
lost
I've been
inside.
here. I thought it was a prank at first. Turn the place into a maze, get all the people out, and see how long it takes me to get lost. Then everyone has a good old laugh. Realized that wasn't the case when I tried to backtrack. Everything had changed, so I ended up lost. Instead of the exit, it was just row after row of bookcases. So I'm trapped in an IKEA. Sounds like the setup for a bad joke. The lights went out at 10 p.m., nearly giving me a fucking heart attack. That loud electrical thunk sound, and then pitch blackness. Place is full of beds though, and my phone has a torch on it. But no damn signal. So I found a bed and went to sleep. Spent most of the day trying to find my way out with no luck. Did find a restaurant serving those meatballs though, so at least I won't starve. That's probably the punchline to that joke. Anyway, they were still warm and fresh.
Is there
but I
food
haven't
inside
seen
an
anyone around
Ikea to
who
live
could've
off
cooked
of?
them. Made my way back to the
I mean,
beds
apparently,
before the lights
but
cut out again since it's too dark to search with them off. It's 9:10 a.m. now. The lights came back on a little while ago. I'm sure I've searched the entire area where I came in now, and the exit obviously isn't here, so I'm gonna pick a direction and hope for the best. Day 3 of my magical IKEA mystery adventure. If I wasn't sure that there was something seriously weird about this place before, I am now. Walked for 3 hours in a more or less straight line. Insert IKEA joke here. Before I came across a ladder next to one of those huge stock shelves they have here. Climbed up to get my bearings, and it looks like this place just stretches on forever. Like that scene from The Lion King, except instead of trees and grass, it was all shelves and tables and crap. I did see a person moving not too far away though, so I headed over.
Jesus.
Thought it was a staff member at first. It was wearing a uniform. Hell, maybe it was. Maybe freakish 7-foot-tall monsters with long arms, short legs, and no faces are just the kinds of thing that they want working at a super IKEA. Damn
So
thing
they're like
completely
mutants or
ignored me,
something.
though. And with no eyes or ears, I can't even be sure it knew I was there. Thought about shoving it or something to get its attention. But its hands were big enough to crush a watermelon, so I decided against it. It just kept moving, and I eventually lost sight
That's
of it, so
freakishly
I decided
large.
to carry on the way I was going. Anyway, no comfy bed for me tonight. Looks like I've entered the improbably hard and pointy table section of the store. Guess I'll have to make do with some bunched up tablecloths. Phone battery died during the day too. Didn't work anyway, but I feel like I've just lost some vital lifeline. You ever see one of those cartoons where they're going through doors in a hallway and they just pop out of another door in the same hallway? That's how I feel right now. I've seen nothing but the same identical bookshelf for 2 days now. Just row after row after row of them. I mean,
That'd drive
come
you
on.
crazy.
I love books just as much as the next guy, but this is excessive. I'm obviously still moving forwards, though. I can see the signs hanging overhead passing by. Too bad none of them say exit. Not sure who I was addressing that question to. Let's just say it was practice for the autobiography I'm gonna write when I get out of here.
Exactly.
I'll call it my perfectly normal trip to a regular old IKEA. If I ever get out of here. Finally found some other people. Yeah, turns out I'm not the only poor bastard trapped in here. Lucky for me, I guess. My 6th night here, 2 of those staff things came at me in the dark. Different from the first one I saw, but still messed up. Heard them coming. They were saying that the store was closed and I had to leave the building, all nice and polite like.
So is it just like random people getting trapped inside? It's not just everyone that goes in the door, or else you'd have like shitloads of people. And then that would be noticeable for the store. Originally before like SCP found out about it, because like there'd be that many people disappearing into a goddamn store. So is it randomly just like once every few weeks, just like randomly fucking your unlucky day, you're trapped in the void?
I'm not
Hopefully
sure
it
which part of that was weirder.
addresses
They didn't have
that
mouths,
stuff a
or that they were
little
apparently
bit.
trying to kill me while they were saying it. Came at me like rabid dogs. So I legged it, sprinting through IKEA in the dark like a fucking madman. I saw it when I cleared another stand in front of those giant stock shelves, all lit up with torches and floodlights. They've built a whole town here. Got a massive wall built out of shelves and beds and tables and whatever else. I swear to God, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Anyway, I guess they saw me coming, or they heard my manly bellows of fear, because they had a gate open and 2 people were there waving me in. Heard the staff thing slam into the gate behind me after it closed, still politely informing us that the store was now closed. They wandered off eventually, though. They call the town Exchange, because that's what's on the sign hanging from the ceiling directly above it. Exchange and returns, all lit up against the night, using lights they've found and plugged into the power lines. And there are beds, and food, and people. Over 50 wonderful people.
Where's the food come from?
Regular-sized limbs and a full set of facial
50
features.
people, that's a
It's
lot.
now my 7th night here, and the first one not spent in darkness. A full week living in Ikea. There's probably a TV show in that somewhere. Now that I'm around other people,
This is an
I'm starting to
Amazon
feel
show.
more normal. Maybe normal isn't the word, but after a week with only the sound of my own footsteps for company, I was becoming increasingly sure that I'd just gone nuts. That I was tied up in some padded room somewhere, banging my head against the wall. But no, I feel quite sane now, thank you very much. Apparently there are other towns out there. Some with more people, some with less. I found that fairly mind-boggling.
Yeah, it
How
starts
can
at.
that many people go missing with no one noticing?
Yes.
Surely someone would have noticed that everyone who goes to Ikea seems to f***ing vanish. Or
Exactly.
maybe it's not everyone. Maybe we're just the lucky ones. The people here just call those staff monster things the staff. Apparently they're fine during the day, minding their own business, walking the aisles. As soon as the lights go out, they go f***ing bonkers. So, during the day, people go out to find food, water, and whatever else they need. Apparently there are restaurants and shops around that get randomly restocked. No one knows how. Maybe the staff do it. Apparently they aren't very good at their jobs though, because the restocking sometimes takes a while, which means the food needs to be rationed. Maybe if they weren't so busy chasing people around in the dark, they'd get more done. Anyway.
I guess
when
that
night
makes
comes,
sense. There's restaurants
staff go
ish at
nuts and everyone
Walmart, so
huddles up inside the
Ikea
walls.
seems like a big
Apparently it's
ass
the same
store. They probably
everywhere
have
in this
that
place,
same concept
wherever
going
this
on.
place is. The Your Ikea, from whence all other Ikeas sprang. Or maybe we're all still just in the regular Ikea and this is all some fever dream brought on by a mind-numbing boredom. Who knows? Been here for 10 days now. Most of the people I asked said they stopped keeping track a long time ago. And one guy, Chris, said he'd been here for years.
What?
Years. Apparently there are rumors of people who do manage to get out, and people who see the exit only to have it vanish before their very eyes. I get the feeling not everyone believes that, but I do. Explains how he got stuck in here in the first place.
I mean, you'd have to keep up hope,
I mean, come on.
or at least mentally, that'd be
Staff
the
monsters, row
best
after
bet
row of
for
high-quality Swedish furniture.
for the individuals, for
I
the
don't know
people.
why they would find a disappearing door so hard to believe in.
That is true
Anyway.
too, I guess.
I went out scavenging for food in a nearby shop with Sandra and Jerry today. Once you learn the landmarks of this place, it's not so hard to navigate. The overhead signs help a lot, but there are others. Not too far in the distance, a huge section of those giant stock shelves is collapsed against each other, and way off in the east, we all assume it's east anyway. Apparently Ikea doesn't sell compasses. It's some kind of tower that looks like it's made of wood. Reaches all the way up to the ceiling. Maybe they were trying to break out through the roof. It lights up at night, so there must be people there. But apparently, it's a few days' walk, which means it must be miles away.
Well, how are you
So no
seeing
one
it
here really
if
knows
it's a
for
few
sure.
days walk?
Apparently, I got incredibly lucky sleeping out in the open for a week without getting ripped to bits by the staff. That's me. Lucky, lucky, lucky. We found some food in the shop. Guess the staff restocked it during the night, which was nice of them. There was a telephone on the wall, so I figured I'd try it out. There was a voice on the other end, but they were just talking nonsense. Random words strung together with no real meaning. You ever see a video of someone with aphasia? Kinda sounded like that. Didn't answer me when I spoke to them anyway. Sandra says all the phones in here are the same. Oops. Asking the journal questions again.
Whatever it
I was
takes to
thinking
stay
last
sane.
The ceiling on this place is pretty high, and as far as anyone can tell, it goes on forever. shouldn't there be some kind of weather in here? I'm sure I read about some NASA building that was so big it had its own weather patterns.
Like
Clouds and
micro
stuff.
environments.
This place is definitely bigger than that. But now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I've never felt so much as a temperature change in here. I'll add it to the grand list of weird bullshit. The staff attacked the exchange last night. Must have been 20 or 30 of them all just asking us to leave the store, calm as you like, while trying to smash the walls down with their bare hands. Apparently this happens pretty regularly, so everyone is prepared for it. Knives from the restaurants, lawnmower blades made into hatchets, a fire axe. One guy, Wasim, even made a functional crossbow. Anyway, the walls have holes in them, which I hadn't noticed before, specifically so we can stab out at the staff when they attack. Took a couple of them down myself. They don't seem to bleed, which is weird. But they go down as easy as a regular person once you start sticking holes in them.
They don't bleed, but you can
We
kill
had to
them
haul
all.
the bodies away in the morning. Apparently the dead ones will attract more during the night, so we had to get them away from exchange. We have a couple of those trolley things they use to move big boxes around, so we loaded them up and took them over to pickup. Apparently people just name everything in here after whatever sign is hanging overhead. Pickup was grisly. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of dead staff,
If you die in this place, do you become the staff?
all piled up. There was no smell, which was a blessing. Apparently, in addition to not bleeding, these things don't rot either. My curiosity got the better of me while we were unloading them, so I took a look at one of the more cut-up ones. They're just skin, or something that looks like skin, all the way through. No muscle, no bone, no organs. Are they even really alive in the first place? They certainly seem like they have bones when they're moving around, pounding on the walls. And I'm sure I felt more resistance than just skin when the knife went in during the night. Maybe something happens to them when they die. Just one more thing on the ever-increasing list of weird shit that goes on in here, I guess. Something occurred to me. After the staff attack the other night, every time you see a situation like this on TV or in a film, like it's the end of the world or everyone is trapped on an island or whatever, once groups like ours start to form, people always seem to turn on each other, fighting for food or dominance or whatever else. That hasn't happened here. Apparently people from other towns come by from time to time, just to check in or occasionally trade if they're short on something. But everything is always cordial. Friendly, even. Maybe it's the threat of the staff, or perhaps the constant restocking of supplies in the shops means there's nothing much to fight over. Maybe people are just better than they're generally given credit for.
I don't know about
That's what I
that.
thought. I think I'll go with that one.
It could
A
be
dozen
the
people
aspect
showed up.
there's no point in trying to gain power when the staff or you're all trapped in this. It's hard to even say. You'd still. That's interesting to bring it up like that. Or to paint it like that.
Up at the gates this afternoon from a town called Trolleys. Apparently the staff broke through the walls and tore the town apart during the night. These 12 are the only survivors out of over 100. We let them in, obviously. One more point in the human decency column. Later, I asked if anyone knew how many of these towns were out there. Between us and the new folks, we managed to come up with over 20 names. 20 towns filled with people.
That's
Who
a
knows
lot
how
of
many
people.
beyond that. The motto for this place should be, how is that even possible? Surely someone, somewhere, must be looking for the thousands of people that must be in here. I've been here for a little over 2 months now. Not that much changes, as it turns out. A couple of new people showed up. Same story.
Yeah,
as
because
the
that's
rest
a
of
lot
us.
of people to be
Nice
disappearing
little trip to Ikea.
without
and
being
suddenly they're trapped in
noticed
Billy
or.
Bookcase's house of faceless weirdos. The staff attack the exchange once or twice a week. We kill them and haul off their bodies. Sometimes they hurt some of us first. They killed a guy called Jared a couple of weeks back. It was awful, frankly. Turns out, regular humans still bleed in here, even if the staff don't. We tried our best, but none of us are doctors. Jared was a good guy. He deserved better. We all do.
What did you guys do with his
It occurred to me
body?
that a couple of days after that, none of us were really looking for a way out of here. I don't even know where we'd start. One of those quadcopter things with a camera attached buzzed past Exchange today. I thought it meant that someone was finally looking for us, that help was on the way. Apparently it's not the first time this happened, though. Same thing happened a few months ago, and everyone is still here. No
Would
idea
that
if
be-
it saw us. It didn't stop if it did. Just kept.
Would that be like the Foundation sending a drone or drones in, investigating? Possibly. Or does Ikea sell drones too? They just haven't found the drone section themselves.
kept flying until we could no longer see it.
Note: based on recovery time of the journal, this entry appears to line up approximately with our first successful test piloting a drone inside SCP-3008-1. Analysis of footage shows a walled settlement under a
So it
sign
was
labeled
the Foundation.
Exchange and Returns.
Flying a drone.
Attempts to relocate the settlement failed. Origin of previously sighted drones is unknown.
But that was only their first one drone. So the other drone sightings had nothing to do with the SCP Foundation. Where are the other drones come
I
from?
started talking to people about the stuff they miss from home during dinner today. Probably not the best idea I've ever had. Everyone seemed pretty down after. A bunch of people here have families. Husbands and wives.
Makes
kids,
sense.
Dogs. Franklin apparently has a pet llama, though I'm not sure I buy that. But apparently some of the people here have some seriously odd gaps in their knowledge. 3 of them had never heard of the International Space Station. 2 of them seemed to think it was the
Gen
Prime
Z?
Minister, and one of them had apparently never heard of the Statue of Liberty. I believed them, too. They seemed just as confused as the rest of us. The more I thought about it, though, the more it started to explain a few things. What if the reason no one is looking for all us missing people is because we haven't all come from the same place? This is gonna sound weird. Maybe that should be the motto for this place. But what if all the people here have come here from different dimensions, realities, whatever you call it? I've seen enough TV shows to know the drill. Sarah comes from a place where there's no Statue of Liberty. They didn't launch a space station where Wasim is from. If everyone here came from different places, even from ones that seem identical, there'd be no huge missing persons panic, no mass search. We'd just be a blip, a single missing person in a world of non-stop news.
That is fucking that's like the possibilities are crazy with that. And then that opens up. That's ridiculous. That's fucking. So like there's SCP foundations in different universes, not universes, dimensions. And that's where the other drones potentially, other drone sightings were potentially from foundations in different dimensions, realities, whatnot. Just that aspect, even outside of just this SCP Ikea thing, of other dimensions with the Foundation. Ah, this is nuts. But how they just did that makes so much sense.
A single missing person in a world of non-stop news. Huh. Well, that was a fun train of thought. Just realized that yesterday was the 6-month anniversary of my arrival.
Yeah, that's fucking
I
ridiculous.
wonder if Ikea sells party hats. The routine around here has remained more or less the same. More new folks show up, one every couple of weeks or so. Food supplies go up and down, but we've never actually had a major shortage. Occasionally we get a visitor from one of the nearby towns, usually checkouts or aisle 630. We check in with each other from time to time, occasionally trade supplies if someone gets particularly low on something. It's comforting, in a way. A reminder that we aren't alone here. Some small glimmer of civilization. Sometimes they bring medical supplies. Apparently there's a pharmacy a few towns down from checkouts that gets restocked every now and then, so they share out what they can. I've never heard of an Ikea with a pharmacy before, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if someone stumbled on an Ikea organ harvesting lab. Would certainly explain the staff. Speaking of our faceless jailers, their attacks have been getting worse lately. 3 or 4 times a week now, with twice as many staff as there used to be. No idea where they all come from, or why the attacks have increased. We tried following one of them during the day a few weeks ago, me and Sarah. Wanted to see if they led back to a staff room or something. Didn't seem to go anywhere though. Just randomly walked through the aisles. We had to turn back before we found anything. We've been reinforcing the walls, trying to arm ourselves better. Certainly no lack of materials to use, while Seam has been making more crossbows, but it's pretty slow going. Too bad Ikea doesn't sell guns. Never thought I'd say that.
Note: no new personnel have entered SCP-3008 at site in the time span indicated in this entry.
The attacks are getting bad now. Almost every night, and with so many staff that the bodies almost pile high enough for others to climb the walls. I think we're in real trouble here. I think exchange is done. We got hit pretty bad last night.
Oh, they whooped your
Many
ass?
casualties, but the wall is wrecked. We finally figured
They
out why
broke
the
down your
attacks have
wall?
been escalating too. A box of supplies had a chunk of one of the staff in there. No idea how it happened, but apparently a piece of one will draw them, as well as a full body. Too late now, in any case. There's too many bodies for us to haul away and still have time to fix the wall before midnight. Candace has called a meeting. I suspect there will be talk of abandoning exchange. Maybe try and get shelter at the checkouts or something. It's already getting late, though. I don't think we'll have time to make it. Maybe some of us will. I was fine for that first week out in the dark after all. But then, how often can I keep getting lucky? I'm only writing this for a sense of closure, I guess. For me,
Or what
or
ifs?
for anyone who finds this. If this is the final entry here, I hope whoever is reading this is doing so from outside of this place. My biggest fear. If I do die tonight, I'll just wake up here again in the morning.
Fucking Groundhog's Day.
Note: this is the last entry. It is assumed that while he was attempting to reach the checkouts,
Oh yeah, and this is the dude that like got killed right after he exited
3002 instance and
by the
happened
staff.
upon the exit.
Oh, poor feller.
Oof. I've been to Ikea a few times, and that guy's recollection
Yeah, that's fucking
not
nuts.
that different from mine. Just saying, that place is a war zone.
The possibilities
Also,
are endless.
Why do I keep on getting assigned interdimensional SCPs? I don't know.
With this sci-fi
Anyway,
world,
I think that about does it for today.
universe,
Thank you very much for listening. If
Concept.
indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed. Go away. I'm just kidding. Goodbye.
nah, for reals though, go away. Till next time.
I would like to give
Links to Volgan down below. The Infinite Ikea. I guess that part didn't register with me in the beginning. Infinite. Yeah, that was ridiculous. very interesting for being not a monster creature. And you don't think of nothing that interesting or creative is going to come from an Ikea. At least, you know, at Walmart, there's all kinds of characters with just the type of humans that go into those stores. Amazing as always. Yeah, till next time, I think, you know, we'll end up doing something else. Y'all take it easy. Get out of here.